Welcome to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. I'm your host, Norman Bell. Terry, the Cobbers kind of had a sloppy first half there, a bunch of penalties, a couple of bad calls by officials. Things just weren't clicking the way they should have been.
I don't know what it is about that place, but it just seems like we've never really started out well down in Carleton for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe, and we talked about it all week. We talked about having that focus. I look at our opening drive offensively, and we got a little high-low penalty on a third down play that pushed us back. And, now you're sitting with short yardage, and now you got to go back. We end up punting, but then we recover a fumble. Pete Boydie recovers a fumble right on the sideline, which was huge. Kept our drive alive. So we go up 7-0. And you're right. We had several penalties in the first half. We had 2 huge fumbles in the first half off of drives that, we were moving the football, and you knew we were going, especially how we finished the game in the second half, we were going to make some things happen there. And, kept their offense on the field. Their offense had, I think, almost 33 minutes of time of possession, and nothing really stretched in the field with us. It was just a lot of, short intermediate type stuff, a couple decent runs. They executed and made some plays, But where I was really proud of our kids, especially defensively, was in that red zone again, and we just continue to shine. We might bend, but we're not breaking, and they were 2 for 4 in the red zone, and that is our goal. We want the opposing team to be at 50% or lower, and they were 2 for 4 in the red zone. 1 huge stop right before half. They had 4 downs from the 3-yard line and didn't get in. That was a great statement by our team and by our black shirt defense going into halftime, and I was proud of the way we started offensively in the second half. 1 play, 80-some yards with Chad Johnson. That was huge for us.
Yeah. Well, Terry, let's take a look at the first half highlights here.
Yeah, well, look at their field. One thing we were worried about was what was their grass could be like. Well, we found out during the summer they stripped their field. They put a new pro turf in, a sandy base, new sprinkler system. It was in great shape, Norman, and we were not. We didn't have. We slipped a few times during the day, but it was pretty good footing for our first time on grass. Can you believe that? 8th game of the year, and we're on grass. So here's the punt, and we get the fumble, and Pete Boydie, it's perfect. He's in bounds. They made the right call. They went and talked about it, but it was the right call. This was after, we kind of stubbed ourselves with some penalties, but we got our offense going. We got to the perimeter. There's Austin Monham, who I thought probably had one of his best games of the year. And here's Chad Johnson, our fullback, who just continues to, amaze all of us with his abilities. There's a lot of stuff there. His instincts, you just can't coach. And there's Jason Montoni in for our first score. So we're up 7-0. Nice. Tony Kostelecki was 5 for 5 on PATs at 100%, and we reached our goal there. Here we kick off to them, and they've got some, they have some weapons, and they do some nice things within their return game, and our guys did a nice job here. Here's our D smothering the run, getting boys to the football. It's always good to see a lot of white shirts get to the football. The little things that they did, as you can see, it was 3 yards here, 2 yards there, 4 yards there. Here was a big play to Kevin Marzoff, too. A nice little hitch route that he turned into about another, was one of our bigger plays of throwing the football. He had over 15 yards on that. Here's one of the fumbles. Right there, I thought the whistle should have been blown.
Yeah.
He had forward progress. They had 5-6 guys over him, and nobody blew the whistle. That was the first fumble, and there's a big sack.
That's into the second quarter there.
Yep. Here comes Chad on a little toss play. Great cut on the perimeter by Jason Montoni, and I'll tell you, our kids do a great job at that.
Slow guy was a problem all day.
Yeah, he's a good player, and he got outside on us and made some yards. And there's big Hayden Carr. Nice sack by him. And here's our first score. Just didn't get a drop. Our safety came up a little bit there, and that kid had over 100 yards receiving. He was a good player, and he was targeting him throughout the day. And got a big push, and actually this ball hit Evan Defer right in the face mask. So we got our goal there. We got our one block for the day. So here's a KO return. I believe Chad gets it. Chad's just got good eyes and just looking for openings, and got a nice return there. That came after he had hit the ground. But again, it was another talking moment. We got to secure the ball. And here's Chad, another toss play. This was a third down play, if I remember right, too, getting up the field for about a 15-yard gain. There's Austin Monham for his first score of the day. Maybe breaking some tackles, gets in. This puts us up 14-6, I believe. Yep. So it was 14-6, and TK putting it through for the PAT. And, we're moving the football. And, there's 7:12 left in the second quarter, and their offense gets the ball back and get a return here by them. We had a couple guys that had an opportunity to make a play there. He gets about 5-6 extra yards on it, but covered pretty decently. There's them just kind of, nickel and diming us again, and got a little screen play out. Chad makes a nice little move there. I mean, none of this is coaching. I mean, look at him. He has just got a knack for finding the opening. Great football player. 2 touchdowns on the day. He's up to 41 total TDs right now, and I believe he's 3 shy of the single season record holder. Here's Blake on a midline option play, and he was kind of chicken winging it, and unfortunately he got popped out, and we lose the ball on a scoring opportunity drive. Now they get the ball back, and we have a pick opportunity. Doesn't happen. I mean, that was kind of the first half.
Yeah.
When you have an opportunity to make plays, you got to make plays, and we were just letting this football team hang around. Here's the big targeting call that they had with our Dallas Raftevold, and it was not the right call, and it's unfortunate because then he's out for the rest of that half and the second half, and there's no replay booth, so he just kind of has to eat it. I talked to the league office, and they agree. They didn't think it was targeting, so we got to get some electronics. I mean, with this day and age, here's the big stand right before half. With this day and age, we have the capabilities of watching those plays.
Yeah.
But here these guys were on fourth. They had 4 downs from the 3-yard line, and a little holding play on Cody Fox, which didn't get called, and we stop them. That was a huge stand, huge statement going into the second half.
We go into halftime 14-6.
Right.
What was the message in the locker room?
Well, we were disappointed. We were disappointed in a few ways. Offensively, the penalties and the turnovers, those killed scoring drive opportunities. And it wasn't anything schematically what we were doing. We needed to stay on the field and execute. It was us shooting ourselves in the foot. Defensively, they were making plays, but we had some opportunities for some picks. We had some opportunities to get off the field on some third downs. They hit a lot of third down conversions in that first half. But the stand that we had right at the end of the first half was huge. Huge statement by our Ds. And when we went into halftime, that's what we talked about. And now it's just about us, the last 30 minutes, doing what we can do and win ourselves a football game.
There you go. When we return, we'll take a look at those second half highlights. Welcome back to the Concordia College Football Show. Terry, you came out right out in the third quarter there, huddled the guys up right at the 50-yard line or so, and you just gave them a message. And what was that message?
Hey, just got to play as hard as we can for as long as we can. We have 30 minutes. Nobody ever remembers the score at halftime. We tell our kids that all the time. But, we just got to get out and execute and do the little things right, and that's what we talked about. It wasn't, it wasn't too big. It wasn't anything schematically. It was just us going out, doing what we're capable of doing what we're coached to do, and make things happen. And we did that. We kicked off. I mean, they had they nickel and dimed us a little bit down the field. We got the pick by Ethan Egerton in the end zone. We get the ball back, and our first play from scrimmage, you give it to your thoroughbred, and that's Chad Johnson, and he found his way to the end zone on an 80-yard touchdown run.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at those second half highlights. There you are right there talking to the guys.
Just
right
talking with
before.
the boys, just, hey, we're all in this baby together, so we always break with together we will, and here's the opening kickoff of the second half. And, they squeezed through a couple opportunities. Guys had chances to make a play, but, they just kind of found some openings. They had, he was 25 for 45, I believe, with his passing, and he was hitting that little zone area there, and we were a little slow kind of getting to our drops at times, but they're just making plays. And here's a nice long run that got him down into that scoring position, into that red zone area, and here's the throw into the end zone that Ethan Egerton gets the pick. It was a fourth down play. It was a big play by us, and they were just a little too far out for a field goal, they thought, and the wind was not blowing too hard, but there was a little bit of a wind in their face. And here's our toss to Chad, and he sets his blockers up so well, and he's got great speed, goes right down the sideline. 2 TDs on the day, 41 total in his career. He's at 16 TDs this season. The record's 19 by Adam Swingdorf, another fullback of ours, back in 2007.
Okay.
Here's TK popping him through the uprights, and again, like I said, he's just been stellar there. Another 100% day on PATs. There's a tip pass, nice block, and we get back on O again, and Blake was feeling it too. I mean, he's got a strong arm, and it was a nice catch by Tommy Pavic. Here's another missed opportunity. We got a pass interference, and we got a first down off of that, and we just continue to move the ball. Here's an inside trap play to Chad Johnson. Great blocking up front, and another play, Austin Monham, he's into the end zone for his second touchdown of the day, and it was just really good to see Austin Monham get back in and help us out. He was injured for a couple weeks, and now that Connor Gessel's been on the shelf, Austin's been filling in nice. Now we're starting to roll. It's 28-6. We're feeling pretty good about ourselves, and we had an opportunity to get this ball, and he had it, and it slipped out, and they ended up recovering it. So there was another opportunity to make a big play on specials, and we were close. Just didn't happen. That's some good team tackling there. We get the ball back, and we're moving again. There's just a little toss counter play. Jason Montoni got off on the edges with his speed.
Moving to the fourth quarter here.
Yeah, into the fourth quarter again. This is our pride quarter. We want to dominate in the fourth. Here's a little comeback play to Ryan Seahawk, well thrown by Blake, and another inside trap to Chad. And we're moving the ball really, really well. We're getting 5, 6, 7 yards at a clip. Here's another score, his second of the day, and it was good to see. He had 202 yards on the ground, and I believe 100 and I want to say a little over 100 were in the second half for him, 150 or so. Big sack.
Those guys really get after it on
They
a
do.
day-to-day
They
basis.
do. Great effort, and Coach Isendorf does a great job at rotating those D linemen in there. We want them with energy, and for that reason, those guys are so strong and big. And there's Simon Casper giving a little pressure off the edge too. There's Noah Taylor defending that really well. There's another completion by them, and all our guys around to make that play. Now we're able to get some of our twos in here too. So we got Matt By at quarterback running with our second string, and back to our Ds, and there's Trey Oswald. Again, 18, had a good day, over 100 yards receiving, and this guy he's athletic. He is in the special teams categories too, and this was their score to make it 35-12, and then they had a couple penalties on it, and they moved the ball back 30 yards on them. I've never seen a 2-point conversion 30-some yards away from the end zone, but it finished out 35-12. Always nice to sing the school song, and it's always good to good to celebrate with our football team. A lot of hard work goes into these weeks, and wins are tough to come by. All right, they're tough to come by, and you put a lot of time into it. But we're feeling really good about ourselves right now, and obviously we can still grow. We can still get better, and we just have 2 weeks to go. We're right in the thick of it, and there's not a coach in the country that doesn't want to hear that.
Yeah. Well, you guys came out fairly decent on injury-wise in that game. It's something that's been kind of bugging the team a little bit this year. What's it look for this week coming up?
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you, we have some bumps and bruises. You're going to have that after 8 weeks in the season, and we've got a few guys. Connor Gessel's been on the shelf the last couple of weeks. We're hoping to see if he can start taking some reps this week. He's a senior slot back, he's played in a lot of football games for us, but Austin Monham has taken some of those reps now, and as you saw in his highlights here from the Carleton win, he had a great day at the office. And we've got a few other guys too, but again, it's that time of the year, and our practices, we start kind of dipping away from a ton of contact and pulling back on periods, and you want to be healthy come game days and playing fast and doing things that way, right? And that's what that's our goal this week again.
Okay. How does the weather affect your practices this time of the season?
You know what? Last week, that Thursday, where it was pretty nasty out, we went outside and we practiced, and part of it was, guys, we could be playing in this weather on Saturday. We could be playing in this weather this Saturday versus St. Olaf, in 2 weeks versus St. John's, and in the playoffs, where we all want to be. You're going to see weather like this. So you have to be out, and you got to kind of callous your bodies to that style of weather, and you got to execute. We had a quick, short, snappy practice, and I thought it was one of our best practices of the year on Thursday. Our kids were focused in. We did what we needed to do out there, and we scripted offensively where everybody in our backfield was touching the ball somehow, some way. We worked on tosses. We worked on our TO, our midline, our inside trap game. We threw the football. We did a lot of little things that anybody who would be touching the ball within our offense, we wanted to make sure that they got a handle on that and what the weather conditions would be like when it's lousy. And it was pretty lousy on Thursday, that's for sure. And defensively, we had a goal line period for about 10-15 minutes, went through all of Carleton's goal line stuff, and then we went in and watched film with our D. And this time of the year, you can do that kind of stuff. You've seen pretty much about everything, and it's just a matter of keeping your guys healthy and get into game day Saturdays ready to go.
Okay. When we return, we'll talk to senior linebacker Cody Fox. Welcome back to the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan. I'm now joined by senior linebacker Cody Fox. Cody, thanks for joining the show, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Senior year, you're a captain this year.
Yes, sir.
What's it like being in that leadership position?
I love it. I worked hard so that I could play senior year and lead a good team, and that's where we're at right now. Really good team, and we're playing good football.
Okay, we'll get back to that, but St. Michael, Albertville. If I lived there, I'd be broke, right?
The old mall.
Oh, Nike, it would never be a product that came in there that I didn't know about. One.
Yep.
And, there's a bunch of stores that I like to frequent there. What's it like living so close to all the goods?
So actually, I worked there. So I worked at Calvin Klein and Adidas. So basically, my paychecks would come in, and I would receive them, and as soon as I would receive them, I would spend them all in the same time. So.
Wow. Yeah, but see, you're in college. The
Right.
responsibilities are different. I'm married with 2 kids. That would be a problem. So.
Absolutely.
But anyway, what was high school like for you there?
I loved high school. Great atmosphere there too. We had good football in St. Michael as well. So very similar to here. That was part of it about coming here, was very similar to my high school atmosphere, so
Okay.
loved it.
Now, were you a single sport athlete, multiple sports?
I tried it all. I was in track for a couple years. I tried lacrosse my senior year. I was in wrestling for a long time. Tried it all, but really stuck with football because that's where I did the best. So.
Now, what was the recruiting process for you like? And again, what made you decide that Concordia was the best fit for you?
Talked to a bunch of schools, but it really came down to, again, the atmosphere at Concordia. Talked to the coaches here, and I absolutely loved what they were saying. Loved the ideas that they had for where the program was going, and I want to be a part of that.
Okay. Elementary education major. I'm assuming you want to go into teaching and possibly coaching?
Right. When I came in, I actually chose the education program as a way to coach. Kind of my idea was that I wanted to be a coach. But after 1 or 2 years in the education program, I fell in love with teaching. So love teaching, hopefully also coach as well.
Now, do you want to coach high school, elementary school, elementary education, but that's
right.
Specialized.
So yeah, my license will be K through 6. I like grades 3 through 6. The young grades are tough for me. Mm-hmm. But 3 through 6 for teaching, and then coaching, I want to get into the high school level.
Would you be interested in sticking around here, going back home, or anywhere you find a job?
Yeah, I like the area up here, but I love my hometown. I love the area back home too. So kind of right now I'm open, but we'll see where it goes.
Now back to football. You guys have to have the best linebacking core in the MIAC. That's my opinion. That's my opinion, because I see you guys every week. But what's it like playing with guys like Alex Berg, right, Andrew Thompson, Willie Jokes, and now you add Evan Defer to the mix? What's it like having so much talent at the second level in your defense?
And I mean, it's just, like you said, so much talent, and it's great to play with talent like that. It makes everyone's job easier when you're playing with talented guys. And I mean, linebacking, we have a lot of talented guys. D-line, we have super talented guys that work really hard. And in the secondary too, it's making life really easy for individual players the way we're playing as a team right now.
Yeah. Now, the crazy part about that is that there's only one senior in that linebacking core, and unfortunately, it's you.
Right.
But just talk about the leadership that you bring to the group, and how the other guys may feed off of what you do as opposed to what you say.
Right. I think it's just the attitude that I try to bring in, an attitude that we're going to work hard every week, and that we're going to bring it to no matter what team we're playing. And I think the guys really respond to that because, like I said, we have guys that are very talented, and they really like to dominate games, and that's kind of what they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're a steak and potatoes guy, right?
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny. I kind of put this together here, and I'm sure other people have, but, okay, if you look at this region with just the schools between Fargo-Moorhead, you have the Bison who provide the meat. You have the Spuds who provide the potatoes. You have the Cobbers who provide the vegetable, the corn. And the Dragons cook it all up for you with their fire.
Just about perfect.
So, and everywhere you go around here is meat and potatoes.
Right.
This is that type of area for meat and potatoes.
Absolutely.
Steak and potatoes, huh? Any type of cut you like, or?
I mean, obviously, I would rather go with a big, expensive steak, but the college budget keeps it down to real thin and tougher than a $2 steak, as TH always says.
I have an idea. TH talks about $2 steaks. Well, seniors, maybe he could take you guys to a nice dinner at
$2 steaks all around.
One of the fine establishments. And spend maybe $4 on a steak.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah, that would be a nice thing.
All right, now I'm gonna go down this list, and I typically do this with all the guys. But which Summer Olympic sport would you most like to compete in? Ribbon dancing?
Yeah.
Is that just a way you think it's an easy medal, or tell me about that one?
I'm super graceful, so I just think that would be a really good fit for me. I'm really not really sure what I was thinking at that exact moment when I wrote that, but that's where I'm going to go with it right now.
You're the four captains out here. You, Jason Montoni, Chad Johnson, and Dallas Raffable. You guys are all kind of. I think Jason's probably maybe the most boisterous. Maybe it's you, but I see Jason talk a little bit more than you other guys. But
Right.
the other guys just kind of lead by example.
Yeah.
The other guys,
For sure. I mean, Jason is definitely the voice for the captain group right now, and we all kind of take our little part in what we do and try to lead that way.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me, Cody. Good luck on the rest of the season, okay?
Absolutely. Thank
And
you.
if an opportunity opens up in Colorado Springs for a ribbon dancer, I'll let you know.
Perfect. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. That was senior linebacker Cody Fox. I'm now joined by a two-time NAIA National Championship, 11-time MIAC Championship, and a 2007 College Football Hall of Fame inductee, Coach Jim Christopherson. Coach, what an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. You know, I could go on and on with this introduction because there's so much more to be said about all your accomplishments and your 32 years of coaching at Concordia, but I just leave it at that.
Well, Concordia football has taken a lot of players and a lot of coaches and administration, a lot of people to have success. And it's really a team effort, and we see the tradition continuing, and Coach Terry is continuing what we've taught over the years, and it's successful. So keep doing it.
Okay. Well, Coach, of your 32 years at the helm of the Cobber football team, give me one of your fondest memories.
Well, you could point to national championships or conference championships. They're really high points. But, you know, just taking the field every August and taking a group of young men, 100-plus players, and molding them into a cohesive unit and then having success, that's the joy of coaching, to be able to work with young men and see them achieve their potential. And there are about 17,000 young men playing Division III football right now. Not everybody's going to get recruited to go to the highest level, but yet young men want to continue playing, and Division III is an opportunity. And then we see people like Brandon Silstra going on, Dave Klug, Barry Bennett playing in the NFL, that they just want to continue developing their skills and their talent and playing the game they love. So that's where Division III football really serves as a real important niche.
Okay. Well, what was your secret or process to all of your success?
Well, you've got to have good players, and you've got to have people that are dedicated. You got to have a good staff. We had our coaches that were head coaches in other sports, and were very good coaches, serving as assistants. And then, you know, having a tradition, something that you have to live up to, kind of. I'd like to point out that I played on a team at Concordia that beat the Bison 47-0. I don't pass that opportunity to mention it whenever I can. And obviously they have a great program now, but Concordia football has been around a long time. And celebrating this 100 years, I think, is really an important thing to be able to point back to the tradition that we have at Concordia.
Now, you've coached 16 All-Americans, from Dave Hyde, I think that's the correct pronunciation. Heidi, okay, to Tim Lowry. But in between that time, you had a linebacker named Dave Klug and a demanding receiver from Wilmer, Minnesota named Terry Horan. What was it like to have those guys, including Dale Hurdle, come back to the program as coaches?
Well, it was tremendous. First of all, they were great players, and I think they bought into the philosophy of Concordia and football at this level. And our staff was really littered with Concordia graduates and people that had played here. So having them come back to the program, and guys like Dale Hurdle was a MIAC MVP in his own right. And to have his experience from high school coaching, being highly successful at Fargo South, to join our program, it's been tremendous. And then Coach Horan coached at Breckenridge and was successful there. And then he had some pro experience as well to bring back some of those finer points that you could integrate into our program. So we had a lot of successful people in our program passing their information down to the players.
Now you also had the honor of coaching a father-son All-American duo in Barry Bennett, senior and junior.
Yeah, I didn't coach Barry Jr.
Okay.
I helped recruit him.
Okay.
And Barry Bennett was really a better high school wrestler. He was state champion wrestler and probably not highly recruited in football. Mm-hmm. But we talked to him, and he saw the opportunity to maybe do two sports. It got down to us and probably Bethel or Gustavus, and came to Concordia and ended up in the NFL for about 11 years.
Well, tell us about your time as a Minnesota Viking.
Well, I kind of compare it with Adam Thielen, the great player for the Vikings now. Just a few years ago, he was just being a practice squad player with the Vikings, and that's how I started out. I just made the practice squad. They used to call it taxi squad back in the old days. And then I made the team as a roster player my second year, and it was very difficult to make a team back in those years because they only had 36 active players. So there were only about 500 players in the NFL. Now there are 53 active players with 32 teams and about 1,500 slots. So to be able to play football at the highest level, even for 1 year, was a tremendous accomplishment. After getting cut by the Vikings, I did go on to play with Toronto for a year, but I was a marginal pro player at 6 feet, 210, 215 pounds. Anything I gained from pro football helped me, enhanced my coaching career later on. It was a training ground, like a real intense graduate course. You're eating, drinking, playing, you're around all the players, studying films, and it was a tremendous education for me that I was able to bring into my coaching career.
Okay. Now, you played for the legendary Jake Christensen. You also coached with him. What was it like to take over for him?
Well, I had the real privilege of being his assistant for 6 years. So I was able to study the man and see how he talked to his players after a tough loss, or bringing a team back down to earth after a big win. And, to get that tutoring, I was ready to coach because of my playing career, and then under his guidance and supervision, I think I was ready to be a head coach. And Coach Terry Horan was the same way. He was coaching in high school, got assistant coaching experience. He was ready to get on board, and his record shows it.
Okay. Well, that was going to be my next question, but
I'd love to expand on it.
John Gagliardi versus Jim Christopherson. To me, that's Division III's version of Woody and Bo.
Well, keep in mind that Gagliardi is the winningest coach in all divisions of college football. So you can see what we had to go up against every year. And they won more than we did, but we won some big games when we won those championships. So we hung in there pretty good. And to be able to say we went up against the best and did well, many of them were games that went right down to the wire. And we had tremendous respect for each other, and I coached against him for 32 years. And there aren't very many people that have done that in any division, to be able to coach against another coach for 32 years.
Yeah. Well, when you guys were in NAIA, you have the same amount of national championships as him as an NAIA coach. That's 2.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about it, and then they did have a Division III championship. We got to the semifinals 1 year in Division III and had overall 5 playoff teams. And that's always the goal. It's not necessarily a measure of your total success. You can have a successful year without even winning the conference championship, because we were keeping the philosophy in mind that this is for the young men as far as their growth and educational experience.
Now, just to wrap it up, just touch on those two national championship teams you had. If I'm not mistaken, 78 and 81?
Correct.
Was it? Now, the 78 team, talk a little bit about that because I know Dave Klug was on that team.
I would like to point out that we have 6 Hall of Fame members on that team. We had Dave Klug, Dwight Hindermeister, Mark Hesse, Ralph Halverson, and then we had, I think there were 2 more players. But anyway, these were great players on a Division II or Division III level. And to get to that point of the season where you're into the playoffs, you've got to have really pretty good talent to measure up against the opposition. So that was probably the most powerful team we had was 1978. The 1981 team was a more balanced team, a good passing and running team. We could play pass defense, good kicking game, and every championship team has a little different personality. And I'd say the strongest team was the 78. The best balanced team was the 81 team, where the team that tied us for the championship hit the crossbar and bounced over on a 57-yard field goal to tie us. And just having gone to that level of play, it's an inspiration for the other teams coming up to try to achieve that level. Yeah. They have set the standard pretty high, I think, for the rest of us. And that goes all the way back to the 64 team. Breaking in and getting onto the national championship set the bar for the rest of the program.
I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you have a copy of the 81 game, but it's floating out there on YouTube now. You can watch, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the entire 1981 championship.
Really?
Yes.
I've got to plug in on that one. I didn't seen it.
Yeah. Coach Christopherson, you have no idea what it's meant to be able to sit down and talk to you, get a little Concordia football history here. It's been my pleasure. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Coach Willits, our offensive coordinator, he always just talks about being so paranoid about beating ourselves, and we had a lot of penalties. I think it was like 82-some-yard penalties, and we fumbled. And we were just kind of being ourselves. It wasn't a big rah-rah speech. It was just, we just got to go out and do our stuff, play our game.
Welcome back to the Concordia College Football Show. Terry, you have a very, very up-and-coming St. Olaf team coming to town this Saturday.
Yeah, very much so. You know, these guys, they're 4-4 right now, Norm. They're 3-3 in the league, okay? I look back at their last several years. The last 4 years, all right, they have 6 wins total. So they have 2 games remaining. They have an opportunity in one season to tie what they've done the last 4 years. This coaching staff has done a great job, you know, and I know all of them. They all have had their ties with St. Thomas, and James Killian's their head football coach. He was the offensive coordinator at St. Thomas these last couple of years. So, you know, they have some similarities to what we've seen out of UST and that, but they're their own, you know, they're doing their own thing too. But they have those kids believe it. They really do. And, you know, and this is the group that they inherited and probably did get a little bit of recruiting in, but now they're going to go out and they're going to be working the recruiting trails hard. And you watch, St. Olaf's going to be one of these football teams that's continuing to keep climbing within the MIAC as the years come here.
Now, they have a pretty shifty, little dynamic running back. If I'm not mistaken, it's the same guy from last year that broke a long touchdown run.
Yeah, he did.
The Cobbers.
Yeah, he's got a little over 600 yards rushing, and he is a weapon, and he is within their special teams too. You know, he's getting about 20, 25 touches a game right now, and we certainly need to know where he's at. You know, they're making plays and they're believing in their system, and you know they've won 3 of their last 4 games. Norm, they lost this past weekend to Gustavus at Gustavus, but they had won 3 in a row and playing really confident.
Talk a little bit about their defense.
Yeah, their defense it's a 3-4 defense, so you know similarities to some of the St. Thomas stuff. But again, you know they're doing some of their own things, but they're aggressive. They're going to play hard, and you know we understand that. But when we go about our business, it's we want to be two-dimensional, no question about it. We got to take what a defense gives us, and we got to be ready to go. And you know what? We're playing for the ugliest traveling trophy in America with the Troll, and it's also the Lefse Bowl, which is Norwegian soul food, as Eric Johnson in our alumni office always says. So our kids will be getting a treat after Tuesday's practice with their Lefse this year.
Okay, and on top of that, you're honoring the seniors.
We are.
Saturday also.
Yep, we're honoring our seniors. It's senior day at the Jake, and those guys have spent 4 years in our program and have done amazing things, and we're proud of each and every one of them, so they're going to get their day in the sun too.
This Saturday, the Cobbers take on the St. Olaf Olies for the Battle of the Troll. This has been the Concordia College Football Show with Coach Terry Horan.